son. Where'd you find this?
Buckle up, buttercups. It's time to get down to business. It's the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. Totally legit.
Everybody, it's us again, back with the TLB podcast. I just want to give a quick and gentle reminder to like and subscribe. It really goes a far way on the channel. It helps us out greatly. Today, we have an incredible guest. We have one of the most talented visual artists I have ever met, and somebody who has just completely amazed me at every layer of their progression through art as a career. The proprietor of Coffin Couture, Mr. Mauro Balcazar.
Thank you. Businessman, scam artist, magician, and wizard.
So we met, for background, everybody, we met when we were working at Audible together, and even at Audible, I recognized your artistic skill. But watching all the stuff that you have done since my time there, like, routinely hurts my brain, because I rarely meet people who are talented as you are with visual art. And that goes beyond just like, yes, you're working for Audible, so you know corporate sensibilities, but your own art is also stunning. Then once you start doing all the pins and the 3D creations and the homages to pop culture, like, you can kind of see in the background in his shop some of the showcases of work. It's incredible. It's like you're like an Adam Savage, but without the backing of Mythbusters.
I'm the Brown Savage.
I love it, dude. So I just want to give you a second to kind of intro yourself and what you do now, and then we'll kind of go back to the beginning and kind of work through the levels of how you leveled up to where you're at.
Well, first of all, you're very kind. Second of all, take me out to dinner. If you're going to throw all these little nice things at me.
Better pay for dinner first.
I feel like a roll right now. But yeah, thanks so much. It's fun to be here. My name is Mauro. I oversee and own the Coffin Couture Design Studio. That name may change, later on as we grow and develop. You start becoming a different brand. You want to do more things. But for now, I create just random things that I don't exist at retail, and I do for myself. And it's been fun to see other people really enjoy what I do, like yourself. And I just make things. I'm a maker. I'm not even an artist anymore. I just say I'm a maker.
Well, it's funny because we live in the time of, like, everyone's a creator, right? And I really hate how that term gets thrown around. You're actually a creator. You create things. Like, you have these ideas in your mind, and you understand how to translate them to everything from 2D to 3D. And it's unique. I know people who are talented at visual art, but I don't know anyone who's as talented across the broad spectrum of art creation as you.
Man. It's just, honestly, it's a lot of boredom. As a kid, I've always done this stuff on paper. I've always had big dreams. But I think it's only been in the last 3, maybe 5 years where technology has caught up. Well, like, hey, I want to make this action figure. I can literally do it right now if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Or like, I want to work on a motorcycle. I can work on a motorcycle now. Things are more tangible in the times that we live in now.
I also saw that you got the Sonder. I see it in the background.
Cheers.
Dude, I've had my eye. I have a Super 73. But the battery is finally toast, and I'm like weighing my options, and that's definitely one of them. I love the way those things look. It's super futuristic too.
You know, like, the story behind that bike? It's awesome. So it was a Kickstarter, and the guy, Sondors, they make electric bicycles. That's it. But they had this crazy idea: let's make this one motorcycle, make it affordable. It'll be $5,000. It'll be all electric, and bid. I think it was bid like $20. You'll reserve your spot.
Wow.
Quickly, Kickstarter blew up through the roof, sold out. And as the Kickstarter funded, the company was going bankrupt and out of business. So out of like the thousands and thousands of bikes they sold, they were only ever able to produce and deliver 900 bikes, right? But the bikes that they wanted to deliver wasn't what the actual customer got. It was basically like underpowered, a little heavier. Design-wise, the things changed. So now, because there's only like 900 bikes in the world, people are going crazy to find this bike. And I've been searching for like literally years. Because if you see online, they go from like anywhere from like $2,000 to like $10,000.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I was able to find it for like $3,000. And the best part is, because it was all produced overseas, all the parts on this bike are cheap and available on AliExpress for like
Yeah, of
$10.
course. Yeah.
Your bike probably uses the same like parts this bike uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Bafang motor, and it's probably the same brain.
Same controller. Yeah. I learned that this week. VOTL, VLTOEL. So anybody can upgrade these bikes, make them faster, make them cooler.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's super cool. For a while there was like a group of e-bike people in New York. We would do like these huge e-bike rides. We would just take over the fucking streets. And a couple people had them. A lot of people also had the what's that other big brand? Doesn't matter. I don't know. That's super cool that you got one, because that is definitely, it's like of all of the e-bikes and e-motorcycle, e-mopeds out there, it's the coolest looking.
Yeah, I consider it, with the story of like the shady business guy and the bike being really all made of aluminum. It's like the motorcycle
The
version.
DeLorean.
Yeah. Right. The bike sucks. You can make it cooler, but just it looks cool.
Well, that's all you need. Kind of most of the times is the shell. You get a good shell, and you can kind of swap stuff out.
Yeah, I'm working on this car now. This vintage Mustang was my project car. Doesn't work great, but it's cool. Like, I can drive it for like 2 minutes before it overheats. Awesome. Those 2 minutes is all it takes to be really cool.
Well, yeah, you just need 30 seconds to look cool. So I guess like I definitely want to go back to like you as a kid doing art, because of all the artists I know, again, very few of them have been able to turn it into a way to generate a living. I know a ton of people that do art, very few people that do art for a living.
Not a full-time living, but it's a living.
Well, hey man, and even like even getting the job at Audible and being like the art guy at Audible, that might seem like a non-achievement to you, but that's kind of huge. That's a big corporation, and you were steering the artistic vision there for a lot of the covers.
That's cool. It's stuff I really don't reflect on, because it's like I don't like to boast.
Well, so like as a kid, you're doing art. Was your family super supportive of it? Was it one of those things where like they were like, get a real job, but then also do art on the side, but then at some point it becomes clear that like you can do this. You can actually do this.
I think they wanted both, because they're both from creative backgrounds. They were both architects.
Oh, cool.
They had the shine.
Sure. Yeah, right.
But I think, maybe if you're a parent, you just want what's best for your kid, and you want them to be the doctor, policeman, something that's not as hard
Stable.
going into art, because art's not, it's not as stable. You got to really be a self-server and like really chase after it if you're doing that kind of like line of work. If you're going to be an artist, you're creative. With other jobs, you're more stable. People always want a doctor, policeman, all that stuff. But yeah, as a kid, I always drew. I always drew on notepads, desks, wherever I had a pencil. I always just sketch.
And at what point did you think in your mind like, okay, I want to like, did you go to school for art?
No.
Was not at all a track.
Psychologist and police officer.
Really?
Yeah. Serve protect.
I mean, to be honest, you would have been a great cop. Just saying.
Awesome cop. Not the first day, but awesome cop.
Don't make many arrests, but the neighborhood loves me. So
I feel like in my spirit, I would have became RoboCop. On the first day.
Super violent. Love that. Love that.
But yeah, I think I went to school for criminal justice and psychology, graduated that, did the whole rigmarole of, applying, getting a job, as far as even I got a job. But I was like, it just didn't feel right for me. So I remember turning it down, and I happened to be at the same time where I was starting this other job at Audible, and just seeing where it took me. It wasn't really to be an artist. It was just to do customer service, just basic 9-to-5 job. And the specific day when I knew I wanted to draw, like professionally, I was watching this movie, The Last Dragon. You ever heard of it? Mm-mm. Oh my God, you're from the city. If anyone steps foot in New York, you have to watch this movie. Barry Gordy, famous music producer, financed this movie to be a black
This
exploitation
movie?
martial arts movie of a black martial artist called, get this, Bruce Leroy, who has to fight and this is the title, the baddest motherfucker in town, Shogun the Shogun of Harlem, to obtain the final level of martial art called the glow. So once you get the baddest guy in martial arts, start glowing. And the whole movie is just that. This guy just journeying the city to obtain that. Highly recommend it. I give it 1 billion stars. Infinite stars. It's great. But I was watching this movie, and I was like, damn, I want to buy some merch from this movie. It doesn't exist. And I was like, shit. Like, and at the time, I had just bought one of those Cintiq tablets for the computer. Those like Wacom tablets.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it was nothing more just to like sketch. Like literally just sketch on like the paint apps. So I was like, let me just try doing this. Just for fun. And like after a few months, I had gotten like a really, really nice, clean pencil sketch. And I was like, let me just try inking it in Photoshop, see how that comes out. And then eventually I had an actual like poster. Looking back on it, I don't think it's great. But that got me to like other opportunities where I was like, I kind of want to do this for other movies I like. And that led me to do The Mask, Space Ghost, Revenge of the Nerds. And it's funny because like, even though to this day I don't think those are my best works professionally, but like they've been used by HBO for the celebration of the Last Dragon many times.
Oh my God, love
yeah,
that.
the actors all have it. They all signed it. There was a guy from Nerdist, what was his name, Chris Hardwick, wore the shirt, my Revenge of the Nerds shirt, while he interviewed Bill Gates. Yeah, it's a weird shit. And then like I was watching, I had done one for the Munsters, and I was watching the making of the Netflix movie that came out because I was bored. And I paused it and I walk away, and then I get all these texts saying, sorry. I was watching the movie. I got all these texts saying, have you watched the making of? And I go, no, why? Watch it. So I'm watching it, and it's Rob Zombie, the first scene of the making of the documentary, wearing my shirt and talking to the people making the Munsters makeup effects. And I was like, what the fuck?
Incredible.
Yeah. So Couture's in my name for a reason, I guess. So little like milestones like that really make me feel like I'm on the right path, or I have what it takes to like, I have something to say, I guess. So it's fun to see that progression.
Well, and have you ever worried, especially doing like licensed stuff or stuff that is heavily copyright protected, have you ever worried about any backlash? Have you had to deal with cease and desists? Like, has that ever been a factor? Or?
It's always a factor for anyone doing something, because at the end of the day, none of us own the IP, right? So when I do things, and I've started to like move away from that, and also a lot of my work now, thankfully, is being licensed by the rights holders.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I've been working with Subaraya for Ultraman. That's one of them. John Carpenter's Halloween. That was an older one. That was cool. And James Cameron's Aliens Part 2.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so it's cool. So suck on that. Don't sue me.
Well, and honestly, again, like even watching you start to do a lot of this stuff and post it online, like I remember the whole trajectory. Like I remember watching it go from just the designs to then the pins, and then you showing up at Comic-Cons with like fully decked out, like complete, some of the best homages to your favorite pieces of pop culture at literally the convention where people come with the craziest stuff. At what point for you were you like, man, I could really make some money doing this? Like, it sounds like it was fun at first, but then it became like, there's a demand for these things beyond just what I think is cool and what I want to create for me.
I don't think I've ever reached that I just want to make money stage. I mean, I think about it a lot sometimes, but it's never been a goal. Because I've done plenty of stuff where I'm like, oh, this is great, I love this, and like crickets. Like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, right.
Fuck, like, dude, what? And like, that's what happens to this day, where I kind of like dream up things that I just want to get out of my head because I think it's cool, and it's not as received. So it's a fine balance of like, do I want to keep being that guy at shows that just keeps ripping off people's IPs to make merch, even though I think it's cool merch and it does sell. Like if you go to a convention now, there's plenty of people making like shitty shirts of like different brands that they don't own and just selling out. And everything you think about that stuff, like I just do that and just make money. But like it feels disingenuous to myself. I guess that's not me. Like I could also sell drugs.
Yeah, right.
But I choose not to.
that would be pretty easy. Speaking of which,
Yeah. Trying to buy? No, but it's like, yeah, I don't want to be that guy. Like, it's too easy to go that route. And it sucks. I think when you're creative, you always want to you want to feel like you have something to say. You know, like.
How do I make this thing that might not be mine? How do I make it my own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make it, and I think for me, whenever I make stuff, I want people to feel something. Whether they hate it or they love it. Like, I've had people cry at my table when they see my stuff. Don't do that. That's weird. You know, like, or people like literally like I was at this show last summer called Midsummer Scream, like the biggest Halloween show in California. And this guy was just looking at my Beetlejuice painting of the bride and groom for like a long time, to the point where I was like, "You good, man?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he left, and he came back and he did it again. And I was like, "Oh, you came back again?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You know, I worked on that movie, and I specifically sculpted those makeup appliances." And I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I've seen a lot of people paint and like do art for these two the Maitlands and Beetlejuice." He's like, "But no one's ever done it the way you have." And he was like, it brings me back to working on the film." So they ended up talking for like literally 20 minutes about the movie, and I was holding my art, and I'm just like, it's cool. And I'm like, you know, I ended up giving it to him for free, and I was like, just take it, dude. You know, like,
Thank you.
Good here.
Yeah, right.
You know, all these great stories, and it was just to see his reaction, which at first I thought he was a creep, but it turned out to be a nice story. Like, yeah, you know, like he was just staring at it, and it's cool to see that. And I'm not good at receiving that. I should be a little bit better at receiving that stuff, but I'm not.
Well, I think most people who approach art that way are not. We're again not doing it for the compliments. You're not doing it for the money, so it's always difficult. I mean, especially if people were coming up and crying, that would just be I wouldn't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, it's just like, you want some water?
Keep it moving.
Well, like sometimes, like what was that? I was at LA Comic Con, and I do these I don't have any back there somewhere. I do these little ghost figurines that I've sculpted in 3D, and they were loosely inspired by that movie, A Ghost Story. You ever watch that?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I'm there with my girlfriend at the table, you know, I'm heads down, just you know, chilling in the moment. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Are you the artist?" Like, mad aggressive. And I go, "Yeah, why?" Like, you know, I reciprocated. He's like, "You know who I am?" And I go, "No, should I?" And he goes, "I'm the director of that movie, A Ghost Story. I love these." I was like, "Yo!" I was like, "Oh shit, sorry."
Okay, so hang on, just so people can kind of see. I'm pretty sure I've got them pulled up here. It's these, right?
Yeah, those bad boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was cool. It was like, you know, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Well, and just you know, just as we're like scrolling through here, I'd be interested for you to kind of like tell us the evolution of the tangible creation. So like, it starts as you doing 2D art homages. And then what was the first like physical thing? Was it the pins?
Yeah, it was the pins. I was contacted by a friend who makes pins full time called Trippy Pins. This is like going back 15, 16 years ago. And he was like, "Hey, you know, you draw, can I hire you to sketch some pin designs? I'll pay you for them, whatever." Did that, and they went really, really well. I forget what they were, the initial designs. They were like a Prince Party Man pin or Seinfeld pin. I forget what they were, but they were popular. So I would go to these pin shows to help him and to do my own artwork for sale. And I would say, "Oh shit, maybe I should just make my own pins." And I think the first pin that I made was for a movie that I had just seen. And I was like, "This movie's on me crying, it's so good." The Shape of Water. You ever seen it?
Yeah. Yep.
And I was just like my chair crying, like all disheveled. I was like, "I want to buy something." And because the movie had just come out, I had seen it at the premiere in the city. I was lucky to get invited to that. So I literally run home, bust out my Wacom tablet, I designed the pin sketch. I used the same factory that had made the previous pins for this dude, and I was like, just make it. And it was my first time ever making a pin of what is now my series that I do of like famous couples of pop culture, right? And that like went crazy online when I posted that shit. I went to different conventions, I would always sell out, and every other convention I just kept adding to that series, like whether it's Herman and Lily Munster or like, I don't know.
Adam's Family,
that's another one.
Morticia and Gomez, yeah.
And it's just stuff that no one's made, and it's for me it resonated because I was like, "Oh, cool! It's not just a pin. It's like they're huge, they're like 3 inches big, and they're meant to be worn as brochures on a woman's coat or a lapel. Like, you know, it's a statement piece, and that's cool for me to do."
So when does it evolve to like the 3D printing stuff, like the more elaborate physical creations?
Again, the ghost story. I watched that movie and I was like, I can do this. I was
Oh,
like,
so the ghosts were the
it
one.
was the first thing I ever made. And I was like, let me just, before I even like bought a machine, I was like, let me just download the app on my iPad. Let me see if I can even just physically understand. And that took me like months to understand 3D sculpting because it was just new to me.
Sure.
Where I would just give up periodically. I was like, fuck this, man. I'm
It's
done.
too much.
Yeah, and because it was an iPad, I'd be on the couch, like, let me just try one more time. And I'd spend 10 minutes and an hour until I had something that I thought looked great. And then I was like, you know what, let me just buy a cheap machine. Let me see if I can actually do this. And then that took off. That was fun. So I was like, let me just keep sculpting for fun, see what I can keep doing. And like,
And again, I just want to pull these up because it's ridiculous, dude. It's like, it's so incredibly cool what comes out of your head. The Frankenstein, I've been seeing a lot of these. I loved this, the Krusty hat.
that was fun.
Oh my gosh,
Pain in
dude.
the ass to make, but it's fun to ship them out to like Japan and like different countries.
Well, and that I'm assuming that one's difficult because you have to do the hat embroidery, which is probably one facet of production, then the 3D printing of the hair, and then
Assembly and all
are
that
you
shit.
doing? I'm assuming you're doing the assembly for each one that got made.
Yeah, I put the eye patches on there too by hand. It's a pain in the ass.
Oh my gosh.
They're iron on, so it's not that hard, but still, like it's not just out of the box done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's this, and then the married or the famous couples. I really feel like that's kind of become your staple. That's like a thing that people kind of seek out your booth for. It's got its own lore.
Yeah, it's cool. It's funny because like by nature I'm not very romantic, and my girlfriend's always like, "Why are you so like cold?" It's like, "Why are you not romantic?" I'm like, I am romantic. It's on my art, and that's the only way it expresses itself. I don't by nature it's not lovey-dovey.
That's the romance.
Yeah.
I definitely want you to kind of speak a bit on like how do you get into doing the conventions? So, you were saying you got asked to come to one, but like what is the process of getting a booth at a comic convention or art convention?
It's pretty straightforward, but it's also hard. On like most shows, wherever you live, there's usually like a nice horror convention or a comic book convention, and they always have applications open out for like Artist Alley, where you can submit your name, your website, and show them what it is you make. A lot of times, they're judged by committee. Well, they'll have to like either approve you or not approve you, or they just want your money and they'll charge you a table up front and send you in.
Right.
Yeah. So it depends.
And when were you like born in Jersey or New York? Were you from the Northeast or did you move up there?
Yeah.
So what do you think like what aspect of like being in the Northeast, having access to debatably some of the biggest of those types of conventions, did you go to those as a kid or a young adult? Not at all.
More after my college years.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was just so focused on, working, getting my degree, literally doing none of that stuff.
That is, it's just.
I want to be a police officer.
Yeah, right. It's completely different, and it's
Yeah.
not like you're going to go into the criminal justice school and talk about the finer points of pop culture. It's not necessarily.
Yeah.
That's not the crowd.
You want to hear see Police Academy?
Yeah. No, they take offense to that. You
Yeah.
might get shot. You got to be careful. You got to be careful what you say. I'm also interested in the 3D printing thing has always fascinated me because, like you were saying, there's it's not just the art, it's the understanding the technique of 3D printing. What was like the learning curve for actually printing this stuff?
Sucked. So that's a backtrack. There's two different styles of printing right now that are available economically. One is SLA, which uses like a liquid resin to, print each layer liquid to make it hard. The other one which I've used now and I've pivoted to is filament.
Yeah.
Little plastic tube, you feed it, melts that tube, and just, prints one dot at a time to make a surface. No cleanup, super safe. The other one, which I was using, is toxic, sticky, it makes your skin break out in rashes.
Oh, cool.
So you have to have you have a lot of gloves, a lot of masks, protect your clothes.
Ventilation of some kind.
Ventilation is super important. So I still have it for like fine details when I'm making stuff for myself, like stuff like props or toys, just like that. But to like at production for scale, I'll use the filament machine, the Bamboo P1S to be specific. It's just fun, man. It's easy, low cost. You have to be really good with like taking things apart because it'll always jam up or get stuck and it requires a lot of maintenance. But other than that, it's just you feel like it's your machine. You feel like you're fucking shit up and you're taking it apart, repairing parts. It's cool.
Well, it's also too. It's like even what you're doing with the car. That's just you like doing. That's part of the process. Taking something apart or building something from scratch, that's part of that is itself can be a creative process. And I don't know, for me the equivalent would be like taking apart my guitars, resoldering stuff, fixing cables, understanding how it works and knowing how to repair it and maintenance it. That to me is like half the fun. Even with my e-bike, like that, the only thing that is original on my e-bike is the frame. I replaced everything else. Just component by component.
I love that, that's my jam. Even as a kid, I did that stuff. I take apart cameras, break them. Like, okay, cool.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's just fun.
It's definitely part of it. Let me formulate this question. So, exactly. If budget were not a question, what is like the most crazy thing that you have currently envisioned that you would like to do if, again, budget and tangible resources were not a question? If you had access to whatever you needed and you had the budget to do it, like what would be the pie in the sky crazy art project?
It would be an art project, or maybe it could consider one, a full working Iron Man suit.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the guy on YouTube who's building the Iron Man suit.
Oh, yeah, the Russian dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm just here with my arms crossed, all jealous, watching that shit. Fuck that dude.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's the one frustrating thing about that is like it's 6 months between every upload.
Yeah.
But again, he's like fabricating the most accurate working, Iron Man situation that has been.
That's my dream, man. Like my dream is like just the way I have my motorcycle and my car parked. I want the suit just parked here. I'll just like walk into it, just take off. Go Chipotle, fuck off. He's like, yeah.
Well, they've even got. I'm sure you've seen these like legitimate rocket packs now that are pretty similar. I mean, they're by no means as compact as the Iron Man suit, but like huge jet engines on your hands and your feet.
For me, the cool factor has always been like when anyone transforms, like the Power Rangers. You just either say something or do something or just like activate something. It's like, all right, let's go. That's like the showmanship of me, the showman.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be perfect too because like you understand the law. Like if you built an Iron Man suit, you could be the perfect vigilante.
I don't want to go that far.
Well, I don't think they're going to be happy if you do it, but as long as you're doing something good with, as long as you're arresting people occasionally, then they can't be totally pissed at you.
And charging $10 for a selfie each time.
Yeah, exactly. Times Square. Hey, dude, there's a market for it there.
Times Square.
the scariest Mickey Mouses of all times.
Oh, I love that place, man. It's just drenched in sweat and sadness. It's awful.
Yeah, it's where dreams go to die, for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure. I also want you to kind of speak on like, so if you're trying to do these things, what are the things that you have to tell yourself when you hit the roadblocks? Like as an artist or somebody who creates things, when you hit the plateau of a learning curve, what are the things that you use to get past that plateau? Because again, like you've acquired a lot of very niche and difficult skills, and you found a way to make them work for you in an interesting
like Liam Neeson.
Well,
set of skills.
Listen, particular set of skills that could, you could do a lot with them, including hunt people down for money. So.
It makes me laugh. But honestly, it's just time. Like I'm going through that now. I have a project that I've been working on for literally 2.5 years. It's a Beetlejuice tarot card deck. And in my mind, it's been done. It's been already like drawn up. And I've been like every other month, I'll do a card here or there. And it's gotten to the point where I'm on the last card to design. And the card's already done here. Like, I know exactly what it looks like. It's just about sitting down and dedicating those like 4 to 5 hours to like draw it. And to me, the annoying thing is that I'll enjoy it once I start drawing it. But the time it takes for me to sit down and commit to do that, it's like pulling teeth. I just don't want to do it. It's annoying.
Yeah, I feel like that's also too. It's like I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty standard thing amongst people that do creative projects. I do the same stuff with like writing music. Like I'll hear the song in my head, I'll play it on my guitar, but getting myself over the hump of I just need to sit down and record it piece by piece until it's done. And even the stupid part to me is like I'm always blowing it up in my head and procrastinating. But when I actually do sit down to do it, not only is it easier than I was making it seem, it's usually faster. It like occurs quicker than what I was thinking.
Oh, shit. This should have taken me 7 months to do.
The analysis paralysis is real, though. You know.
Yeah, but like also like I'm pretty sure I'm not diagnosed, but I must have ADHD because like I'll be doing something and like something pops in my head. I'll literally stop what I'm doing and just work on that because that excites me. Or like I'll come back to that I'm bored or I'm not excited. Like I'm always like switching. I have like 5 projects at the moment right now. That's how it is.
Yeah, that is also like I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing. And one thing that I didn't really recognize or harness until I got older is gestation periods. Like I can take this project to a certain point, but then I actually need to step away because if I sit here and try and force this out, it's not going to work. I need to break away and do something else, work on something else, clean the apartment, and then I can come back to this with kind of like a fresh head.
Yeah, man, that happened to me. Was it 6 months ago? I had this one project I finished. We could probably show it on my YouTube page. I had bought this 5-year-old Power Wheel Batmobile, right? And I was like, I've always wanted it. It's super rare, but I knew that I wanted to turn it into an actual Batmobile, like RC with like music and like smoke and everything. And I got halfway completed, but I just couldn't figure out how to make the doors open and close. I got to the point where I was going to spend like hundreds of dollars on like little pieces on Amazon to get it to do what it needed to do. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, it's not going to work. And it wasn't until like one random day where I was like, I don't know, getting a haircut or something like that. I was like, oh shit, I figured it out. I can 3D print this. I can make it in 3D. And then once I was able to get over that hump, everything else just wrapped up so quickly. So like, yeah, there it is.
This thing is sick.
My 6-year-old sweater. That's a sweater for a 6-year-old. A husky 6-year-old, actually. I'm not even joking. We bought it at a vintage flea market. The 6-year-old's big XL sweater.
Oh my god. The 90s were different, dude.
Yeah, dude. It still fucking hits, bro. I stretched it out. It fits.
Yeah, I've loved watching you just kind of come up with these wild ideas and execute them. Even with, you know, the motorcycle. That's not necessarily like an art project, but just, you know, I'm gonna understand how this works. I'm gonna make this thing my own. And you've got like I don't know if you have any maybe that's on the Instagram, any pictures of the bike, but
no, not yet.
It's like you turned into like a road warrior. You know what I mean? It was awesome.
The best compliment I've ever got was someone DM me once. So I posted something on my stories, and they're like, "Dude, you're like a ghetto Iron Man." I was like, "Yes, thank you."
Hey, well, and to be fair, like kind of that's what the question was before. If you had Iron Man's budget, you know, if you had Stark Enterprise behind you, and there was no limit to what you could or should create, what would you do? And I have complete confidence that you would figure out some kind of
It would literally just be this
Iron Man thing.
Literally expanded with a bunch of cars, a bunch of motorcycles, and an authentic New York City hot dog cart with a man giving me hot dogs whenever I want.
24/7. He's
no joke.
on salary. He's on salary.
Yeah, like Grace Papaya just set up in the back there. Yeah. Very simple.
So you were kind of talking about it before too. You've had a couple really cool opportunities to meet some of the people who created these iconic pieces of art that inspired your creations, what are some of the other cool scenarios you've had to kind of share your art with the people that were responsible for it? And I would really love to hear good and bad stories if you have them.
I'm trying to think of a bad story. Oh, yeah, dude. So, you familiar with Star Trek at all?
Of course, yeah.
You know who Q is? John Delancey? Or John Delancey?
I'm pulling him up right now.
Right? And he's there. And I had drawn, again, not for sale, I don't sell this stuff at all. It was just something for me to have signed that I thought was whimsical and clever to make. And I think I don't even know where I have it online. There's a picture of him, but on a dollar bill. And I gave it to him to sign, and he was like, "This is really, really cool." Like, he loved it. Like, he was like, "Oh my God, this is like so clever. It's so much fun." And then there was a long pause, right? As he's signing it, I remember he was signing it, he looked up, and I could just see his eyes shifted, and he
Demeanor.
he goes, "You don't sell this, do you?" And I go, "What?" He's like, "You don't make copies of this and sell it online, do you? Or here at the show?" And I go, "No, it's just for me." He's like, "Okay, good, don't do that. This is my face." And I go, "Yeah, I wasn't planning on it." And he was like, "I am now." No.
Yeah, exactly.
After that, I guess, I don't know, it's like Severance. He just snapped out of it, and he was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
right.
nice. Have a nice day." I was like, "Thanks, dude. All right."
The Audi became aware.
Yeah, the Audi was a dick, but the Andy was dope. I still have that somewhere. I found it not too long ago. I was laughing about that.
Well, and that's kind of like that's the first question I asked about running into licensing issues. Like, I'm sure just by doing this at some point that's statistically going to happen,
Yeah, and I know from my experience too, it's a lot of the lesser known actors, or more like that aren't so relevant in films and movies now. They do a lot of their own policing because they don't have
Sure.
companies. So, I know Elvira. If Elvira literally has people checking all the convention tables for stuff that's copyrighted,
Yeah.
and they'll either buy it or the next day or the same day. I've seen it happen. She'll literally give you a cease and desist,
Wow.
and she'll have people pack up their shit and leave. It's beautiful.
Damn.
Yes, it's beautiful. But yeah, as I was specific people that I won't do it with, I do it more for films if I can, right? Or older films that either the actors are passed away or nobody cares. But even then, I'm still slowly moving away from that unless it's licensed.
Well, and it's been sick to I didn't realize you had so many legitimate license deals already. That's amazing.
Real artist now, I'm a real boy.
You continue to build that up, and before long, people will specifically be coming to you to say, "Hey, we saw what you did here, and we would love for you to reinterpret
Yeah,
this."
that's awesome.
You'll get there. Even watching you, I can't remember when you start doing this. I think when we were working together, it was 2015, 10 years ago. It's a long time ago. And I can't remember at what time I became aware that you were doing this stuff on the side, but in 10 years to watch all that you have been able to do, it's not going to surprise me if in another 5 or 10 people are just, again, coming to you, especially for the legacy stuff. Like you were saying, the stuff that no one isn't as popular, isn't in the zeitgeist as much, coming to you to be like, all right, reinterpret this so that it can be applicable to a younger audience, or reinterpret this so that we can take this thing that people may have forgotten about, but re-envision it in a way that's interesting and contemporary, and that people would be interested in buying or wearing or whatever. Yeah,
it's cool to do the legacy stuff too, but sometimes you can easily get burnt out. Like with Beetlejuice, when that movie came out, every one of the mother was doing something. Yeah. And that's when I initially paused for a couple of months. I can't focus on this shit. It's just too much. It gets to the point where it's almost repugnant. It's all right, man, I get it. You want to sell me a shirt? I get it. And same thing now with Severance. I want to do a Heliar and Mark S pin, but when I go on TikTok, it's just people just.
That's all it is.
Shirts and everything pops. It's all right, dude. It takes away the fun of it because I have the idea. It's done. It's just, I don't want to be in that niche of people doing it just because it's popular.
Well, and that's especially with Severance, but with anything, as it becomes popular, I hate that, and I don't even create any of this stuff, but I hate watching the waves of just mediocre merch.
Oh my god!
Mediocre merch capitalizing on whatever is the hot button right now.
There's nothing that upsets me more is that whenever you see it at any convention, it's not the ones that I just go to. people just literally grab an image from Google, print it, iron transfer, and like sell it for like $30. And it's like shitty, pixelated. That's the best
disgusting.
part. Pixelated. People eat it up. They're like, oh, great.
It was an artistic choice.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That always bothers me, and I'm sure it must drive you crazy. So I think it's always smart to do something different. Like I've always hated the Hot Topic, not the store. I worked at Hot Topic, so I'm not even going to hate Hot Topic that much. But I've always hated when that thing just becomes a hot flavor, and then everything becomes that for a short period of time, and then until the new hot thing comes out. I'm always of the mindset, especially with creative stuff, you just gotta do different stuff for the intent of being different. Like don't choose the less popular thing because it's the less popular thing, because the more popular thing is almost certainly oversaturated.
And I think it comes down to it for me, storytelling. It's like whether it's a pin or a poster or a 3D object, it's like what do I want to tell and how do I want to tell it? Like, it doesn't have to be a movie or a TV show, it could be my own thing.
Right.
And I've done that now, like little by little, just pushing my own ideas out and see what works, what doesn't work. Get mad when it doesn't work. Nobody cares. But like we were saying before, like the saturation of pop culture stuff, like I've had movies completely ruined for me. I just can't enjoy anymore. One of them being Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh sure, oh yeah, dude. I worked at Hot Topic. Okay, I can speak on that.
Yeah, fucking keychain socks, keychains for the socks. It's like it's annoying. That Star Wars is just like it's so much, dude.
So played out.
Yeah, it's like I get it.
So I guess maybe that answers this question, but the next question would be like, if you got a company like Hot Topic or Spencer's or somebody that wanted to license something, would you even consider that?
It would depend on what restrictions I'm gonna have. Like if I have total creative freedom and I feel like I have something to say to make it worthwhile, where I would want to buy it, because it has to come down to me wanting to buy it. I'm just gonna make it for the fun of it. I probably want to do it.
Yeah.
Unless it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's Stark Enterprise money, and sadly, it'd never be, especially a corporation like that. They wouldn't.
But even small corporations, there's always somebody above you making the creative final decision. It's like, there's color's too blue. Make it less blue. Or maybe redraw it another way. I don't like it anymore. It's like, all right, man.
I guess the phrase that I'm most familiar with is rule by committee, or I always make the joke C-suite. There's some C-suite asshole who's never done a creative thing in their life, who all of a sudden thinks they're going to be the creative fucking mastermind. This is kind of a side note, but have you seen that show, The Studio, on Apple TV?
No, but my friends keep telling me all day to watch it. So it's on my list for this weekend.
It is genius. So I've got a bunch of friends in LA who are in film and video games, and we always talk about that.
Is this the one with Seth Rogen or the one that they had just canceled?
It's the one with Seth Rogen.
Because there was another one called similar to The Studio about movie executive creating like an Avengers type movie that just didn't work.
Oh no, that was on HBO, and yeah, that show was mediocre. It was all right, but it was mediocre. This one leans in to the nihilism of the C-suite of movie executives, and I'm always joking about it with my friends. Like we'll see, especially my friends who are in the industry. Like we'll see a trailer, and I'll be like, "What asshole thought gummy bears needed a movie? Like what? That was in a boardroom somewhere that was seriously discussed, and somebody said it was a good idea."
See, I can kind of understand why that happens, because like I'm coming from like the corporate world. Everything is numbers, right?
Of course.
Let's see, for example, the gummy bear thing could be like, hey, how many gummy bears did we sell last year compared to like the year before? It decreased by 75%. What can we do to make it rise up in popularity? Oh, merchandise. What about films and all that shit? Just to keep it relevant, whether or not the movie bombs, it exists enough in a certain period of time to get people to talk about it and to maybe, oh yeah, you know what? I want to try some gummy bears.
Right.
It is like, yeah. But then when you're talking about like really stupid choices, it'd be like, you know what? Does Batman's parents really need to die? But What if we just don't do that? Right? Or like,
It's a little depressing. It's
what if we
morose.
just fly? You don't gotta pay for a car, right? You just fly, dude. Yeah. Like, it's like when there's specific rules to canon or like creative design or just, I love now retail merchandising. That's kind of where I'm kind of like trying to get myself into, because I know what works what's cool to buy as someone that buys a lot of shit. You can't see, but like I have a lot of random shit and stuff that's just produced just to exist, right? And like a lot of times, like if people spent more time at C-suite, using your term, to like think about what would people be crazy about merchandise-wise, rather than just what can we pump out quickly and cheaply.
Yeah.
Do we need 1,000 socks of Night Before Christmas? No.
Definitely not.
No.
You definitely don't.
Not doing that. It's just that. Like right now, I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, I've been working on these mock-ups for Epic Universe. Do you know what that is? It's a new theme park that's opening up here in Florida in a couple of months, where they'll have Universal Monsters Land, Mario Kart Land, Harry Potter World.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's cool.
Oh, I've been seeing the ads for Harry Potter World. Okay, that's what that's connected
so like,
to. Gotcha.
That's awesome. I'm excited for it. But what sucks is that when you see them posting their merchandise of what they created for people to buy, it's the most mediocre clip art shit. It's like, and the funny part is they charge you an arm and a leg for it. You gotta be paying $80 for a shirt that some dude copied, grabbed assets, pasted around, typed in Epic Universe, and that was it. So like I took it upon myself, and again, I'm nobody. I'm just a dude that just wants to buy shit. I was like, what if I was given a creative brief saying creative series of products that are not just for your average consumer, but people that pay, you know, like a premium for cool shit at the park. They have that now at Disney.
Sure.
You know, $200 for a fucking lightsaber.
Lightsaber. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
$10 ice cream bar, which I always buy. But because this doesn't exist for this specific park, I was like, fuck it, I can do this shit. So little by little, I've been doing weird, high-end things that don't exist, but would be cool to see at a park to buy, you know? And it's just been fun to see myself, you know, use Photoshop. I've been using Midjourney, using my own sketches to inform those products, and then shift it to my creative design brain to make it all visually look enticing. You know, the name, the branding, why it exists, what it does, and then it kind of makes you wish it was real. All right.
Wait, you said you've got examples on your Instagram?
Yeah, on my Instagram. I think I've done 3 so far, and I have one dropping today.
With the purple background?
Yeah.
These things?
Yeah, those.
Oh, I have to sign it.
I got them. We can see that.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you know, Halloween masks from the characters that do actual things. Capes with different embellishments you can pay
Oh
for
my god,
painting.
the hair, that is sick.
Yeah, it's just things that they serve 2 purposes. One, corporate wise, they make people want to spend money to upgrade these things. You can always change them out every season. You know, you can do it in a series, do limited editions, and just have interactive things people can do at the park to play with. Same with Mickey Mouse ears. Same with the Jedi clothes they sell, or Harry Potter robes. This is just a different flavor of that for a specific target audience. And that's what I really like doing, is it's fun for me. Now,
Well, and again, like this is kind of what I was saying at the very beginning. Like very few, I've loved watching you kind of put your multiple hats on here, because very few artists get to the point where they understand how to do just that. How to like make this in a way that would appeal to the C-suite, but would also satisfy the people who are the fans, the people who would ultimately be spending the money, and justify to them dropping insane amounts of money. Like I agree with you. Going to a amusement park or even a concert and paying $75 for a very not original, like the same font that I see on everything.
virus.
You know, it's like why would I pay $75 for that? You know, even like a tour shirt, a shirt from a tour, which is just the album cover and like the dates on the back.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not, to me, that's not worth $75. I'd rather if it was just some crazier, if it was a crazy design, or like they were only selling them.
You could go buy them like that.
Right, stuff you can't just get anywhere else. Like I that would justify the price to me, but I feel like we just get milked so much in every aspect of life right now. It's like, where's the real value? Where's the stuff that means anything? And I think that, you know, we had that as kids with our branded merchandise. It took me forever to like give up my Batman toys.
What I was wearing.
Yeah, no, seriously. I was just gonna say, it took me The only reason I gave up my Batman toys is because there was a younger kid who really wanted them, and I was like, dude, I'm not using them, so I hope you enjoy them, because my toys are way cooler than what they're pumping out to you.
Yeah. No, but yeah, you're right. Totally. It's such a diminishing quality. They say like it's unreal the amount of crap that's being pumped out. And like my name even like implies I'm not a fashionista by any means, but like I like to dress well. When I go to shows, I'm either wearing a suit or nice clothing, and I want to represent what it is I create, right? Like the couture version of it, whatever. And that should also extend to when you go to a park. You want to wear nice clothes. You shouldn't just have a big fucking dumb logo saying Disney on it, or Universal.
Right.
You want to feel like it's something you would wear outside the park as well, which C-suite talk lends itself to people wanting to buy more of it because they can use it more broadly. It's, it's just a different way of thinking, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't really have hope for the C-suites, like having a general blanket redefinition of how they view this stuff. But I do love that you're able to kind of like mesh the best of both of those worlds, and it's partly your experience, but partly your passion for it. That just allows you the flexibility. It's like the left and the right brain connection.
Yeah. My innie and outie.
Exactly. Hemi synced. I want to make sure I ask you this because it's one of my favorite posts of yours. When you met the guy from Jurassic Park in the Jeep, can you just explain that, like, from the inception, like you wanting to do this and then the creation of that whole thing? I don't even know if I can find it on here, but
I think it's one of my reels that I posted. That thing blew up. I couldn't believe it.
It's incredible, dude. It was incredible. Like that was one of the most hilarious situations.
That's more or less what pushed me to make that Batmobile. I haven't posted that yet, but like I was like, damn, I can just make crazy shit. People like it. But yeah, that was another project. It was like when I first moved to Florida, I needed to keep myself busy. I didn't have this space, and I was like, I found that Jurassic Park Power for like $50. I was like, fuck it. At the least, I'll resell it if it doesn't work. And little by little, I started upgrading the parts to the point where I could ride around my town in my little Power Wheel. And then when I saw this convention a couple years afterwards, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to drive this car into the convention, see what he says. He might hate it. And the second I pulled up, I saw this giant grin on his face. I was like, what the fuck is that? And it plays music, so I was blasting the theme song as I was driving it to him. That's incredible. That's awesome. It's like, I should bring this with me everywhere. People can laugh at me.
Just so people can see, it's the full effect, dude. It is the full effect.
Like a monster in a little boy's car. But it was cool, man. It was a good experience to show someone of the thing they were in, something you built that shouldn't exist, but it does. Like,
Now, did you have to do any modding to the actual car?
Oh yeah, dude. That's meant for a little kid. That couldn't hold a 200-pound man. I replaced the motors, the batteries, the control box, added lights, music. It was like the whole thing. And this is before even 3D printing. I could probably do it way better now.
That is so sick.
It's like a whole community of people do this. Like,
well, there's a guy in my neighborhood right now who has a full-size Jeep that's Jurassic Park that looks like that, but is an actual.
Oh, really?
Jeep. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
He parks on one of the streets I live on.
There's a guy here that does the same thing, but he uses it for the parks. So any events, he'll bring that car to the parks. I think his name is like Jurassic Vic, I think it's called on Instagram. I've always wanted my car's so beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Cool dude.
Wow, yeah, that's so funny. Oh wow, he's got like he's got every style of Jeep too. That's great.
Every show he always like brings them. Like the one I'm doing next week, he'll have them there.
Oh, he's got the Toy Story pizza delivery Toyota. That is epic. Yeah, I guess that would be something else I'd be interested to ask you about. Like, who are some of the other interesting characters because this is like an entire ecosystem. It's a whole world of people who are into cosplay and the conventions, and not just people who get a booth like you do, but people who just really love the things and build these elaborate homages.
Yeah. I've been a lot of characters at shows, that's for damn sure. And like, whether they're vendors or just people that come to check out the show. Everyone's cool for the most part. There was a couple of stragglers or the weirdos sometimes. The weirdest one that I've gotten so far, which I've had many, I was at LA Comic Con, and there was like a girl, no, it was a guy, picking up my little ghosts. And he was like looking at it, like touching the tip of it. And yeah, I was like, hi. And he was like, is this what I think it is? And I go, what do you think it is? He's like, you know. And I go, I don't. It's just a toy.
No.
And she was like, oh, I thought it was like a butt plug.
No.
And she was like, you think I could do it? And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, why don't you buy it? It's out of my hands. Do whatever you want with it. And she bought it. So.
No way.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Oh, that is.
It was a girl. It wasn't a guy. It was a girl.
That is horrifying, but also hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, what? I thought she was joking. She was not.
Oh no, that sounds like they were completely serious from the get-go.
100%.
Yeah, I guess it'll be a real good test as to the strength of the 3D print, you know.
And it was a glow dark one too, so hopefully it got a blown butt.
Oh jeez. What of the shows that you've been to, like what was the most elaborate cosplay that you've seen where you were like, damn, that is incredible?
I think by far the best cosplay and the best shows are in California.
Yeah.
Far.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because like
Movies
not
and
only
set
like
design.
people just creative, but like a lot of the people that come to the shows work in production.
Yeah, right.
They purposely show up to say, hey, look what I can do. That's just mind-boggling. Like you can name a character, they've done it. Like it's crazy. like I saw Beetlejuice at the last Midsummer Scream, who was 1,000% Michael Keaton. There was no way it was not him, dude. And like the voice, the way his makeup looked, the eyes were Michael Keaton's eyes. It was crazy. And I'm just like staring at him like in awe, like, holy shit, you're Michael Keaton. Like, it's incredible. And then you have like guys with like giant like machine costumes with like things that move and light up, and like, how do you go home? How do you walk around?
It's commitment. It's serious commitment.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, this is kind of like it's made the rounds on the internet, but it was the mech from Alien.
Oh, Power Loader.
The daughter, like his daughter is sitting on a little thing in front of him pretending to drive him, and he is the mech. It was just a very creative way to incorporate your child.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
But do you like...
There was one guy at the last Midsummer Scream who... his cosplay was just the ride of the Haunted Mansion, like the actual dune buggy.
Oh my god!
And the entire time he was just driving around in it. And then play the music. It would have like light effects going off on the floor, and I think it had smoke in the bottom. So it was like he was floating in a little dune buggy, just driving around. It was fucking crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah, dude.
Does that like also serve as inspiration? Like, do you go there and you see some other person who doesn't have a booth like do something like that, and you're like, damn, I need to go back and get in the lab and work up something crazy.
Oh yeah, anything I see, like anything even outside the convention is inspiring. Like, holy shit, like how do you do that? Like, what material is that? How long did it take to do? Like, I'll always ask a lot of questions if I ever see something I like.
It's again, man, it's like so cool to watch. You know, so many people have ideas. Very few people have ideas that become tangible. Like they take them out of their brain. And even less people have the capacity to create the scope of things that you create. What are, like, for you, what is the most fun? Of all the things that you do, of all the things that you have done, what are the highlights, and what is, like, and it might not even be the actual end creation, like, what is your favorite part of the process, I guess, is that question.
Like, it's always a journey, I think. Because like once it's done, it's done, and it's kind of boring. It's like, all right, now what? Like from the time you get the idea to the time you're actually working on it to the time it's done, the middle is always my favorite. Because it's really fucking hard. It's like hard, but like you'll either learn stuff, you'll literally overcome issues.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so great. I made it work. Like with the Batmobile. Once I figured that out, dude, you couldn't touch me. I was like so happy. And everything else was just like, all right, that's all done. Like, I just needed this one stupid thing I couldn't figure out. And I would just sit, and then I had this time, so it was just a big thing when it was just staring at me the entire time, like taking it apart, and I was like, fuck, I can't figure it out. Like to the point where I was just gonna glue it on and cop out. But I had a specific vision in my head, like I had the canopy has to slide out like the movie. There has to be like a little Batman figure in there, and it has to play music. And I went as far as like to get it to play music. I had to buy this old chip from China that plugs into like RC cars, and to get that to work, I had to get the software. And to get the software to work, I had to buy a specific laptop from like 1998.
Oh my
had a specific
God.
Windows XP on it. That's just how stupid it is. Yeah. And once I got that to work, I was like, fuck, dude, this is so great. Because like now it's one less thing I have to worry about. But just to know that you were able to solve that problem is like the best feeling in the world. Which is great. It's awesome.
So what is your plan with the car?
I don't know. Yeah, it's there. I haven't driven it in a while.
When did you say I'm gonna do the car next? Like at what point were you like, I'm done with these figurines for a minute. I need something real.
Oh, I just saw it on eBay. I saw it for like a dirt cheap price. That car goes for like $3,000 or $5,000 on eBay. And some dude in Clearwater, which is like 4 hours away, had it for like $100. And I was like, oh shit. And apparently I got there just in time because there was another guy from Chicago who was going to fly down to buy the car.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's like, fuck it, here's your money, I'm out. Peace. And then that sat there for a couple of weeks. I was like, what can I realistically do? So I took it apart. I sketched some concepts of what it could physically do. And I just went to all the different RC stores in Florida and asked questions and bought a lot of parts. They didn't work. Bought more parts. That didn't work. And then little by little, just made it do what I wanted it to do. Now it just sits there.
Well, you know, it's also one of those things where, like, especially with, there's a part of me that loves long form projects. I love starting something knowing that this is going to take me a couple years to finish. And I'm the same in the way where I like the process, but I think the most fun part about it for me is optimizing a plan. Like that's probably, I'll probably spend more time taking measurements and coming up with ideas. That's like the creative piece, so that when I actually do have to get into the fabricating portion, it's kind of brainless. I'm just like a lot of the stuff that I did for my bike. I made custom brackets to put lights on it. I did all sorts of stuff that there were no instructions. Like I had to actually sit down and do math and cut metal and figure out a way to make what I was trying to make work. But I it's like the planning process for me is usually like where the real juicy shit is. I've never taken on something as big as like an actual car, but do you want to get this car to just be like a functioning car that looks good and looks cool, or do you want to like, yeah, the Ford?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I want it to be like a daily driver. It's just, when you're buying a car, don't buy blindly off of eBay. Make sure you have someone go there and check it out.
Well, how much was it again?
So I bought it. I'll give you some context. I bought it for my 40th birthday. It's going to be my gift. I was like, fuck, I'm going to be 40. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to have my own cool car, my own Vin Diesel, if you will. I found it on eBay for like $9,000. And I was like, fuck it, I'll give you 10. Just sell it to me. And it was in like Kentucky, I think it came from. No, Tennessee. And I had it delivered. Got here. I was all hyped up. I put the key on. It doesn't work.
Amazing.
I was like, fuck. It turned on, but it would just not drive at all. It was just a fucking lemon, basically.
Yeah.
I panicked. I had to find someone locally. And apparently, I found this out after the fact. Where I live in Florida, or basically all of Orlando, basically, has a huge, if not one of the biggest vintage Mustang communities here. Where a lot of mechanics work on these cars, in terms of race cars. There's meetups where I live downtown.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, seriously,
But,
that's
yeah,
one
but-
win.
Yeah, but it's one win, yeah. But then it was like, how much is it going to cost? So I've been doing everything piecemeal, little by little. And so far, I'm almost like $25,000 into this car. And it's still not driving.
Well, again, there's some projects you take on, it's going to be like I watch. One of my favorite things to watch are people on YouTube who rebuild cars, and I'll get invested because like they'll post videos for 2-3 years, and this is people who are only doing this all day, every day, and it still takes them 2 or 3 years to do it, but they understood that going into it, and that's like that. I guess it's kind of like what you're saying too, like overcoming all the obstacles that you see. There's a piece of it that's like, I am unstoppable. this was an impossible task and I did it. I figured it out. But it's also one of those things where it's like we live in such an instant gratification world that
that's what it is.
It's hard to commit. Like, okay, I'm going to be doing this for 4 years, and even at that point, even after 4 years, it might not be done, and it might not be what I want it to be.
Yeah, I definitely have a vision for this car. I mean, it's driven. Like I'll do repairs. I'll drive it around. Something will break. Wait a few months, have that fixed. Drive it around. Something will break. And like now, recently, I've talked myself into being more hands-on with the things that I can repair, like alternators.
Sure.
My first alternator. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, but I was, thanks to YouTube, I was able to do that. And like all the interior replaced. But like ideally, you ever watch that movie, The Monster Squad? Oh my god, are you serious?
No, yeah, I'll look it up right now.
Oh my god, hang up and watch that shit ASAP. That's the greatest kids movie of all the 80s, The Monster Squad.
Yeah, this doesn't look familiar at all.
I'll just summarize real quick. Group of kids like the Goonies are really best friends. They have a monster club where they talk about monsters. It turns out monsters are real. Dracula comes to town trying to find an idol that was misplaced in that part of town. And shenanigans ensue. But in the movie, he drives a really fucking cool vintage car. It's like a Dracula mobile.
Sick.
And you only see it for a couple of seconds. That's it. It's only once appearance, but that stayed with me where I was like, I want to make that into this somehow. So it's going to be like all rusted on the outside, brand new on the inside. It'll have like a glowing bat on the hood of the car.
Oh my god.
The grill will have like flames, so like as the engine revs, it'll sync to the sound. So it'll usually be like a flame LED, like it's breathing. It's all like, in my head, it's all done. I know I can 3D model the hood ornament, I can do all that stuff. I just wanted to drive first. That's all I wanted to do.
Well, that was going to be my question, because I figured you weren't just going to put red paint on it and restore it to be like exactly like it was in the 60s. Like what other crazy ideas, like what in your mind, how far do you want to take the customization of interior and
like I just want it to look like it came straight from Transylvania. A race car from Transylvania.
So like a Mustang hearse.
Yeah, just like a beat up, like if you look at the paint's all crunchy, it's all like chipped and like scratched and all that stuff, it's weathered. But the inside's mint, everything's replaced. Red leather, chrome everywhere, brand new radio, everything's perfect. So you would never know. And then like one of the things, there's like a giant gap in the central console. I wanted to make like a talking skull that connects with like, not ChatGPT, it's like a different AI. People do it now. They make their own assistants. You can assign its name, assign its voice, and like call it Igor. So as you're driving, you'll say, hey, what's going on, Igor? Hey, there's traffic up ahead. Like, that's my ultimate goal. It's like have like a friend in my car and just like talk to, like, what's up, dude? Let's go.
That is incredible. Is it manual?
No. I'm not cool enough to drive a manual car.
I was going to say, I'm sure you had plans for the stick, but
I'm not a cool ghoul.
I guess not. Ooh, well, clever wordplay there. You know, I just, there's a couple more questions I have. The first is, what are like, from like the fabrication perspective, what are like the hardest things that you've had to learn how to do? 3D printing is also is its own thing. Modeling the thing is its own thing. But like the actual, I see a ton of tools on the wall. What were the hardest skills that you've had to learn and adapt? Calipers?
Honestly. The only reason why I made the switch from resin to plastic 3D printing was for the Batmobile, because I had to completely design all the missing parts that never existed for it. The canopy, the back, the rear engine, the headlights, all that stuff didn't exist. They were all stickers. So I would have to like find 3D models on different websites, try those out, measure the missing pieces and assume where they would go according to like a toy for scale. And I must have printed like 50 different pieces until I found the right fit. And then I would print it all over again in stronger material. And then I would have to measure that to make sure that the glass inserts were correct. Everything had a tight but not too tight fit. You know, like that taught me so much in terms of like engineering that I hadn't done prior to anything or since. Like it was the constant, like you said before, measuring nonstop. You know, I'd have like endless pencil sketches of like 34 inches, 12 inches, 9 inches.
Yeah, right.
And that was just that. But then getting to the actual printing machine, and then in between that failing, having to figure out what was wrong with that bullshit, fix that machine, reprint it all over again, have the machine fail, refix that. It was a constant battle of just trying to accomplish one single thing. So when that was over, it was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. I win. Like, I did it. But calipers, it starts with calipers. Source of truth for everything.
Well, and do you think, like, the fact that, like, both your parents come from, like, an architecture background, do you think that, like, predisposed you to be more mindful of, like, again,
I thought about it, but
it's a little bit of an influence in the art, but now that you're into, like, the actual fabrication of scale models and stuff, do you think there's, like, a component of that you absorbed as a childhood that
yeah, I think so.
pleases them, you know?
Oh shit, that's my origin story.
Yeah, exactly. That's the origin story. What is the huge thing behind you with the plexiglass window in it?
Oh, that's my spaceship. So, like, when I first moved here with my girlfriend, we were like, where we used to live was like basically farmland. Like, there was nothing but besides like an antique store, strawberry fields, a Publix, strawberry fields. So we'd always drive by this one antique shop, and they had this weird green thing on the outside for like a year. Like, rain or shine, it was just outside. So, like, one is like, fuck, let's just ask what that is. So we go to the store, he's like, oh, yeah, that's like an old 1950s sauna that someone from, like, Europe had shipped to their house, and, we bought it, and it's been like a display piece. Because they had, like, little kitsch things outside, like an alien, vintage cards outside. It was collecting dust. So I was like, all right. He's like, is that for sale? He's like, do you want to buy it? And I was like, yeah, but how much is it? He's like, if you really want it, it'll be like $100. And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, and we'll deliver for like $20. And I was like, I was at the time. I was like, I had like zero space. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So until I got a house, it just sat there. But I've been taking it apart little by little because it has motors, so it can like fling horizontally.
Oh my god!
But if I were to open it, there's like an actual cockpit in there. So there's like a pink leather seat that I made you can sit on, and a joystick that you can plug in your iPhone or your TV, and I have a made projector, so I can watch movies or play games like Nintendo will have there. You can just sit, and the screen has a matte film on it, so the projector hits the screen, so it looks like a hologram.
Oh my god!
Like, play the games. Yeah. The goal for that is to have wheels so I can drive it around, and like lay flying. I'm like, if I were smart enough, it would fly, but I'm not that smart yet. But yeah, I'll get in it, hear albums sometimes, and just like meditate. It's awesome.
Have you? I'm sure you've seen these, but they have literal flying cars now.
Oh yeah.
They're basically drones, kind of a very similar body type, but it's just got drone propellers on either side, and it can transition from road to air.
I think those are cool.
Not suggesting you do that. I'm just saying.
I'm in that shit. No.
It's not necessarily aerodynamically designed. So
I feel like I'm very much of a mid-century mindset. So everything has to like look a specific way. Like even my background's like very like 50s lab, nerd lab. The colors are all muted. Like that shit. It's fun.
It's the aesthetic. You're adding an aesthetic to life, man.
To me, it's like that kind of inspires me a little bit when I see those like asymmetrical shapes and like different like lines. It's cool.
I also want to ask this question just because they're a movie creator who pays a lot of similar homages to things that you do. His name's Andrew Bowser.
Okay.
He did this movie recently. I would recommend.
I see his work. I'll probably recognize it.
He
did Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Heard of it?
This was his movie. He crowdfunded it. It was pretty fantastic. Onyx the Fortuitous.
Oh, dude, that dude bought stuff for me.
Really? That makes sense. Okay, that makes total sense.
I had to ship something at some point, and the name looked familiar. I'm not too familiar with like the name, but I asked my girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh my god, you know who that is?" I go, "Nah, bro." And then she told me the movie, and I asked my other friend who had just seen that movie. He's like, "Oh, that's that dude." I forget what he bought. He bought some Roger Rabbit dip cups.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he, in my opinion, he's like one of the only people that's that character started as just like an internet thing. He used to also be in like an emo band in the early 2000s, and he would direct all of their videos, and then he slowly transitions to just doing filmmaking. But his aesthetic is similar, and I would not be surprised at some point in the future if your paths like professionally
hopefully,
collide. But his stuff reminds me a lot of the stuff that you do, but it's with his own kind of again, just paying homage to the pop culture that raised him in a very clever and updated way. But that movie uses a lot of, it's basically all practical effects. They use some visual effects, but it's mostly practical, and they built a bunch of crazy elaborate puppets. If you haven't watched that movie, I would definitely recommend it. It's fucking hilarious.
I have a long list. I usually watch stuff as I'm working. Like working
yeah, sure.
Playing, like, it's just easier for that way.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm pretty sure that's on Amazon. Dude, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on here and kind of giving us your artistic insight into what you do and why you do it. I want to turn it over to you for a second to kind of shout out where people can check out your stuff. I'm going to have the links that I pulled up in the description of the video, but just tell people where you want to drive traffic. What'd you say?
Do I get paid for this?
Yeah. I'll pay you afterwards. Yeah, in doll hairs. Yeah.
Sweet Bitcoin. Oh man, thanks so much, man. I had fun. It's nice hanging, dude. And if you're ever in Florida, come make your way down with you and your lovely lady. We'd love to have you. No,
I wanna check out the creation studio. Like it's one of the things I dislike about New York is that there just isn't enough space. I know. Like when I lived in,
space, but it costs like pretty coin to have it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you're probably getting more space down there for your dollar than we are up here, 100%. For sure.
Yeah.
And like even so, a garage, that's a luxury. That's a luxury anywhere, but especially here. Like you have to be in a very particular situation or very far away from the city proper to have a piece, a place to work on my stuff. When I lived in Greenpoint, I lived in a warehouse. It was literally a warehouse that we had retrofitted. Awesome. It was amazing. And we could kind of do whatever we wanted. But when we moved into this apartment, like I can't even really do a lot of work on the bike anymore because I have to sit on the sidewalk.
I had the same problem before. It's hard, dude. People like staring at what you're doing, no privacy. You can't like iterate the way you want to iterate. Dogs
just urinating directly on your stuff.
Dogs fucking you while you're fucking. Yeah, man. It's been fun. You're more than welcome to come down. I always like seeing people's reactions when they see the different rooms. All the rooms here are themed differently.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I had some guy do construction here like a while ago when I first moved in here, and it's just him eating in our kitchen. Our kitchen is designed to be like the Monsters Cafe from Universal Studios.
Amazing.
They just closed down not too long ago, well, a year ago. So I ended up buying the original seats and tables and signage from the park. It was all recreated in my kitchen. And he's like, "Oh, I'm actually here as a kid. This is crazy." And then when he looked up, he saw these giant like figures that I had. And he was like getting all teary-eyed going, "I used to have it as a kid. My parents would take me to go watch it on TV. And I had that and that." And I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool."
You're creating an emotional ambiance here, dude.
That's what it is, man. My favorite thing is when someone thinks that I'm wrong. Like I had this one dude when I first was making, there was nothing in this house. I was designing this guest bathroom. Just a little small space, right? And I told this guy, the contractor, I was like, "Dude, here's the sink, here's a toilet, just install it." And he goes, "Look, man, I've never in my life, and I've been doing this for like 30 years, I've never said this to anybody. Don't install this. This is ugly. It's gonna make your..." He's like, "I'll do it for you, and I'll even take it off for free, and I'll buy you a new one at my expense." He's like, "But you're wasting time. It looks ugly, and it doesn't make any sense what you're doing." And then my girl was like, "Damn, look like an asshole." And I was like, "Dude, just do it." And he's like, "If it doesn't work, you can remove it. It's fine." He does it. Cut to a month later when he comes back to finish some other work. And I was like, go to the room. And he was like, "How bad is it?" I was like, "You tell me." And he was with his wife. And they opened the door, and I'll never forget him going, "Holy shit!" And he was like, "I was so wrong." He was like, "I was so wrong." He was like, he was Spanish. He was like, "Es bello, es bello." It was so good. And I think I have a picture of it in my Instagram. It's like the Bride of Frankenstein powder room. You gotta find it, show it to your people, because it's fucking awesome. I think it's awesome. And no one uses it to this day. It's just like a hidden room that nobody cares to use.
Hang on one second. I'm pulling this up right here.
Yeah.
Instagram.
But
it's a room for show, man.
Yeah, take your selfie, get out. It's like, don't use the toilet, just bounce.
Take your selfie and leave.
Yeah, it's like literally what it's made for. It's the first room I've ever designed. It was like exactly what I had in my mind. It was like custom wallpaper. First time cutting wood, made my own shelves. Because I wanted you to have that cool, like, you're at a theme park experience. Like, oh shit, like, all right. I can smoke a cigarette here.
let me see. How far down about do you think it is?
Let me see. You gotta go to the real section and scroll down, like, maybe 2 years ago. Let's see. But yeah, it's cool. And like, that's led me to design more rooms, which I'm really enjoying now. The reels.
Well, I mean, you've kind of like you've unlocked it. You've done so much fabricating at this point that you've kind of unlocked the ability to look at anything and figure out how to retrofit it. I don't know, dude. Like you just nail aesthetics. Like you get the whole vibe, whether it's a pin or whether it's a room. Design is design.
Yeah, just DM'd you the link. If you scroll, you see the picture of it. It's a hand holding a metal gear switch. That's the profile picture.
Oh, okay, I think I just scrolled past that. Hang on. Yeah, here.
But yeah, everyone who's since visited goes to that room like, oh shit, that's so cool. Because you never expect it's nothing fancy. It's just a fucking powder room, but it's done to sight and motion. Look at that bad boy.
That is incredible.
Got the 3 seashells. You know that reference?
Oh my God! Demolition Man, right?
There you go.
Wow, dude, that looks great.
It's just like little things. There's nothing fancy. Like anyone can do this stuff. It's just, I always love seeing people's reactions when they see that stuff.
Well, it's touch and detail. Like it's just a little bit of attention to detail. You can turn a blank bathroom into a whole experience.
Look at that wizard.
That's super cool.
I'll never forget the guy. He was like, "Please don't do this." He begged me. He was like, "Just please don't do this." In all fairness, he's right. That's tiny sink, and it's not practical in the slightest. So kudos to him. Yeah,
It's
man.
incredible. Well, dude, I can't wait to see what other crazy cool stuff you come up with in the future. And again, if you're into any of the art that you saw, just tell folks where they can check it out and pick it up if they want.
Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram at coffincouture.com. That's all one word. Or the website. Sorry, no, it's at coffin_couture. The website's coffincouture.com. Or if you want to see my general design portfolio, stuff I've worked on, you can just visit mrmauro.com. That's MRMAURO.com.
It's incredible, dude. Thank you so much again for coming on here. And
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
you know what? At some point, once the car gets to a certain point, we'll have to do a whole episode on that, where you can maybe give us a tour in and around it. 'Cause
Come down, get right with it, and live podcast on it.
that is a great
Real
idea.
time and get
Yeah,
towed
no.
real time.
I really enjoy that. That sounds
dude.
amazing.
Hell yeah.
Well, everyone, this has been the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out. And we'll catch you on the next one. See y'all.
This has been the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. The end. With your host, James Oliva. Executive producers, Clint G and James Oliva. That's obnoxious. Sound design, mix, and master by James Oliva. Literally no one cares. For more Totally Legitimate Business, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Totally Legitimate Business or add us on TikTok at TLBpod. When will this end? Thank you for listening. Now get back to work. Move it along, buddy.